What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own review of the Belle Collective. This is the season finale. We have the reunion coming up, and let me tell y'all, this season wasn't as hyped up as they try to make it out to be. We spent every single episode discussing this DM situation, but what we didn't see was anybody else adding to their own storyline to make it more interesting, because I'm tired of this shit. And we didn't see no resolve. We saw the same shit that Glenn and Leticia always does. Blame everybody else for their situations, and yet they still want to say, we still together. That's my man. I'm going to stick beside him. And now the reunion is coming up. I don't want to hear this shit the entire time. We got to talk about other things that actually did happen on the show. Because this is, no, hang it up flat screen, okay? But we start things off with Glenn and Leticia. You know, Leticia's coming back from her trip from the Gulf Coast, and Glenn orders some takeout. He is plating dinner, and while Leticia is happy to be back home, she is not happy to see Glenn. Well, where were you going to go, Leticia? That's my whole thing about it. I don't know how you can still occupy the same space with a man you can't trust. Make that make sense. How are you afraid to come back to your own house? Kick this nigga out. Anyway, so wondering what happened with her and the rest of the ladies on the trip. She said, look, and I'm just tired. You would think after a trip, I wouldn't be as tired. You know, I wouldn't be coming back home feeling exhausted after hanging out with Carrie. But this the thing though, Leticia. You pretty much carry the negative energy throughout the duration of that damn trip. So you can't blame nobody else but yourself. And here she is again, dismissing the DMs. Like the DMs was nothing. Like, we knew all about it. We knew what it was. No, you didn't. You didn't know everything from the DMs. You were shocked when you saw the other DMs that Amanda showed you. Stop playing with me, Leticia. I'm going to need for you to take off the fucking blinders, look through the forest beyond the trees, and deal with what happened. Your husband was caught in another woman's DMs yet again. Like, she's ignoring that and is only harping on the fact that the two people who I care about the most hurt me like this. You are not a fucking victim, Leticia. The DM should have been enough to look at your husband sideways. Like, why do you continue to do me like this? The fact that you're overlooking the DMs is a problem for me. And the fact that you and Glenn are still trying to blame Latrice for it is a problem for me. Talking about how, why couldn't y'all have my back? How could y'all do this to me? I was like, fuck you, Leticia. When have you ever had anybody's back? Really? For real? So she talks about her conversation she had with Latrice. She thinks that it was genuine. She's hopeful that Latrice was genuine in what she said, but then she still cannot figure out how we got to this point. Like, when me and her locked in, we locked in. So I don't know how we got to this point, because Leticia, you are a hard person to please, which I'm recognizing. You don't want nobody to be real and honest with you, because the way you're reacting right now is what the reason why Latrice was having a hard time telling you. But at the end of the day, the actions you're showing is that you're still going to stick beside your husband. No matter anything that he does to you, and it's humiliating, it's embarrassing, you're not going to do anything about it. But you're going to want to place everybody else accountable and responsible for your marriage. And that's not cool at all whatsoever. And I don't even know why you're sitting here having a conversation with this nigga instead of kicking his ass out. How are you so chummy with this man who has put you in all kinds of situations to hurt you, to humiliate you, to embarrass you? But you're putting all of this betrayal on Latrice, which is so weird. At the same time, Latrice is back home as well. When she went home, Love did not bring Cliff home last night. He stayed at the condos. So she went straight to the condos and said, honey, I'm home. And she wants to live in with him too. So he's not understanding why Latrice is feeling some type of way about him spending so much time at the condos than at home. And now she's trying to organize the closet since she's going to move in there as well. When I tell y'all, looking inside that closet, that was a single man that was living there. Like, it's almost a month's worth full of clothes and shoes. It's like the nigga never went home once the restaurant got created. He instantly was looking for a way to separate himself from Latrice. So she's talking about the trip as well, and she is over it, okay? She is over the Glenn, Leticia, and Amanda situation, and while also trying to remove herself from this kind of stress, she doesn't want to stress over her marriage because she is not comfortable with the fact that Cliff doesn't come home since the restaurant has been open. So I guess they came up with an agreement that he will stay at the house throughout the week, and then on the weekends, they both will go over to the condos. He don't think that's a good idea. And I'm honestly am annoyed and I'm over at this because, okay, if you want to create a moment where you have like staycations with your mate outside of your home to keep the chemistry, to keep the traveling feeling alive, I ain't got nothing against that. But the way that Latrice is constantly following this man and wants to be up under him 24/7, I need to understand why. Because I remember looking at Latrice feeling suffocated, that Cliff was always up under her. This man never let her breathe. He couldn't even have her have regular business meetings without him. And now since his restaurant is open and he finally got something that he can call his own based off of what Latrice has provided, he doesn't want to be up under her like he used to. And I don't know if she's feeling abandonment, but she's definitely acting on some codependency and some insecurities that I don't like Latrice is acting right now. Because Latrice, what the hell is Cliff going to do? He ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. And at the end of the day, accept this separation. Allow for him to have his time. You have your time. Maybe you can run your house the way you want to run your house. Maybe you can feel more free, feel more you in your own space instead of feeling like a fucking prisoner. Like, I ain't got time for this shit. I really don't. And, you know, talking about being on the same page, he's saying, I'm on the front page, you're on the back page. It's been years being on this damn show where Cliff still doesn't view Latrice as his equal, and she still is begging for the acceptance that I am just as important as you are important. We are on the same page. We are thinking the same way. We both add value in this relationship. And it's like Cliff is set in his ways. Latrice, you just need to operate on your time and not operate on his time, okay? Then he's talking about if she is going to stay at the condos, is she going to buy groceries and she's going to cook? She said, why would I do that when we have a whole kitchen downstairs? And not with her. If we have a whole restaurant that we can go down anytime we want to, you can go ahead and order some breakfast. You can ask the chef to make you a plate of lunch. Don't come over here with me. Good night. Anyway, back with Leticia and Glenn. They're talking about heading over to Selena's house because right after Selena's event, Leticia wanted to know if she ever thought about going over to her son's house. And if she does, let us know, we'll be there. Now, Leticia's talking about putting on a brave face and being cordial around Latrice, and I just want to punch her in the fucking face. I say, go to hell, Leticia. This isn't about you, okay? You should not worry about making sure you are at a good place with Latrice to be there for Selena. This is about Selena. This is not about you and Latrice. I swear to God, she has made every instances about her being the bigger person, put on a brave face, being cordial. Bitch, fuck you. Sorry, like this, you can't put a sensitive topic on how can I deal with it when I gotta be around Latrice. It ain't about you. I keep repeating myself. I'm sorry. It's just like, it's just getting on my fucking nerves. And it's so baffling to see both her and Glenn place all this blame on Cliff and Latrice. And, you know, Glenn's talking about how you say you got me, you say you're my friend, but you wouldn't do this to me. Nigga, how are you mad at Cliff for something that you did? You are putting a lot of responsibility on other people to make sure that you don't get caught up in your own shit. It's the ultimate betrayal because you're mad how the information got out, but you're not taking accountability of you putting yourself in these kind of situations. I can't stand this grandstanding, this level of delusion, the land of living in milk and cookies. Talking about I'm tired of people coming at me through my wife. It's like, nigga, you've been the one coming at your wife. You've been the one attacking your wife all these years. And you know, Leticia, she's all about, listen, you are responsible for what happened, but if there was something, do your best to protect me and shut it down and protect me without looking dumb. The whole thing about not telling her before everything blew up is just baffling to me. The nigga isn't supposed to have something to tell you because he shouldn't be doing it. Then when he said there was nothing to tell, nigga, please, this was something to tell. That you were DMing another woman that you know has been around your wife. You're talking about linking up with her. You are supposedly coming behind her at Taste, wrapping your hand around her waist. Like, get the fuck out of here. There was a lot to tell. Then to say, you know, I don't want to deal with this shit no more. Like, if we rocking like we used to rock, we shouldn't have to deal with this. Tell your fucking husband that we shouldn't deal with this. Tell your husband to stop putting you in these kind of situations. That's like, girl, when are you gonna wake the fuck up? But you know what? Leticia don't want to wake up. She wants to stay there. Let her stay there. Good night. I'm done. So Glenn tells her she needs to clear her schedule for next Friday because he got something planned. It's a surprise. She said, cool, just don't invite the friend group. Fuck you. Nobody wants to be there anyway. Good night. Good night. I'm moving on. We got Tambra. Tambra set up a meeting with her and Damon to talk to a financial advisor because she wants to be on the same page with their finances. And they're not married because she wants to be sure his finances is up to par with hers. But now they have a child together. We have to figure out something. Okay. I didn't know what to expect when Damon sat down. And it turns out the guy that they met was someone that he knows. And she said, listen, we can talk about anything, but when it comes to finances and money, he kind of shuts down. So the guy said, okay, if my friend is anything like me, we know that money ties to a man is like a level of pride. You know what I'm saying? We probably dealt with a lot of mistakes. We dealt with a lot of trauma, and our money reflects on how we want to operate in a better setting. So we want to prove that we can handle money management in a different way than we did before. So we also learned from Damon that his father wasn't around when he was growing up. At an early age, he took on the role of being a provider. And I feel like that's all Damon has been operating on, making sure he's making enough for everyone to be, you know, comfortable, safe, financially stable. But he actually never thought of saving. He never thought of what his money could be used for other future expenses. So far as like investments and stocks and, you know, creating a plan. He never thought of that, which is a lot of people's first time wondering of how money can go so far, right? And then saving for a marriage. Tambra want to know, you have to save for a marriage? Yes, Tambra. It's not just planning a wedding. It's about how you're going to operate in a marriage. What are your goals when you are in a marriage? Are you saving for a house? Are you saving for buying another property? Are you saving for a future investment purchase? All of those things play in a factor, okay? So yes, you guys do have a child together. You guys do need to come together and figure out your expenses. She wanted to merge bank accounts. I don't agree with that. But in the same realm of wanting to merge bank accounts, he wouldn't touch the baby's money, but she said, you'll mess with mine? Hell no, don't do it. See, that's the thing though, Tambra. You don't know what his finances are, but you're not sure you can trust him if he sees what you make. And I feel like that's probably where the imbalance is. I don't know if you think that Damon makes enough as you, because you are a radio personality, you are an author, you do a lot of events where you are the spokesperson and the announcer, so you probably do make more than him. But I don't know if he is recognizing that you're trying to help him instead of, I guess, put that above him, like, you know, I make more, so you need to match up with me. I don't know if that's what it is. But I do think you guys do need to keep y'all's accounts separate and create a fund for your daughter for anything else she might need. So the producers wanted to know, is there a wedding in the future for her and Damon? She's hopeful, but we all know how long it's been since they talked about a marriage. And I honestly don't think Tambra is looking for a marriage with Damon. I just think she is happy with how they are. I honestly feel like she just wanted the baby. In my opinion, I think that the most thing she wanted out of her relationship with Damon is the ability to have children with him. So Tambra could be wanting a marriage with Damon, but I don't think she's going to put all her eggs in that basket. I mean, she put it in her basket to have a child by him. But I think that Damon is stepping up as a father. I just don't know if she is trusting enough he'll step up as a husband. I don't know. So they had their own conversation. They both agreed it was good. Tambra has taken accountability that she has pressured him a lot to tell her about his finances without trusting him to do it on his own. And she said she'll back off, but allow for him to tell her. But Damon wasn't against her wanting to know, as far as wanting to invite her in to tell her about his finances, because he actually wants her help to manage his finances. So she's okay with, you know, him trusting her about his finances. And, you know, lots of men are not comfortable with talking about their finances. They be secretive. They be pretending as if they have it when they don't have it. And that's something that me and my husband do a lot. Like, he has never not shied away of talking about what our tax money would be used for, what could we do in the meantime throughout the year, how we can save. We are very open about talking about finances because we are always interested in wanting to know how we can save more money. And Tambra said she's going to wait and see if Damon is going to be more open. So we'll see. That was a little scene, nothing much. Moving on. We got Glenn. Glenn pulls up at Taste to confront Cliff about what happened at Latrice's pool party. And since Leticia spoke to Latrice, had a somewhat heart-to-heart, he's hoping for the same thing to happen with Cliff. Majority of this conversation was Glenn feeling caught up in his shit. And he didn't like the line of questioning about who found someone else attractive. And he thought the whole thing was a setup. And it's like, who asks these kind of questions? He said, listen, I get it, but it wasn't a setup. Cliff said in his confessional, I understand why he feels upset, but whatever you had going on with your girl had nothing to do with me and mine, okay? And your reaction is what lets you getting caught, which I have to agree. And Cliff told him that in that scene. Had you not reacted that way and stayed calm, you wouldn't have been caught out. And I love when Cliff said, I can't control what a grown-ass person say or don't say, do or don't do. And, you know, as far as Glenn wanting Cliff to have his back, I feel like he did have your back when he told you not to react, stay calm. And he said, you pretty much made everything go left when you wanted to approach Jovan on some, who are you? Do you know me type shit? You know what I'm saying? So he had to step in between you and her, because that was a lot that you did though, Glenn. And Glenn just don't want to accept accountability, okay? He admitted that he lost his cool and he shouldn't have did that, but he is still not holding himself accountable for how he got to that point. And Cliff defended Latrice by saying she didn't know what Amanda was going to do. But of course, they don't, Glenn and Leticia don't believe Cliff or Latrice that they did not want that to happen. And, you know, Glenn is like, but that's your hairstylist. That's your best friend. You're sitting in her chair every day. I know she tells you these things. Yes, she does. As if she wasn't supposed to, Glenn. That's the whole thing about it. See, you think you can have that kind of conversation with Cliff about the shit you're doing and don't think Amanda is letting her friend know the shit you're doing? Good night. So he believes that Latrice knew what was going to happen. I don't care if she knew or didn't know. At the end of the day, you were caught up talking to another female. Period, point blank. I don't care how the information got out. I don't care who spoke about the information. I don't care. It's the shit you got caught doing. I can't stand Leticia and Glenn. They're both getting on my fucking nerves. They're literally trying to paint themselves out to be victims and are expecting for everybody to fight their battles and apologize for putting them in this position when it's something that they did themselves. What are you talking about? Saying if this was at my house, I would have shut it down. I would have did it for you. I wouldn't let it get this far. Shut the fuck up, Glenn. Shut up. Then to say, I look at y'all like family. You know what I'm saying? Now, Latrice hurts me. You hurt your damn self, Glenn. And this is my thing. Glenn has said that Latrice has put them in constant situations. Can anybody name a time that Latrice and Cliff put Glenn and Leticia in a bad position? Because I would love to know. When she told Leticia about the baby that you wasn't going to tell her? When was that? When he had already had conversations with Antoinette and everybody else? When was that? I feel like you have put yourself in positions to hurt Leticia, but you got mad that the information got spread out to the group. Is that what it is? And let me also let you know something, Glenn. To say that Cliff and Latrice has never had y'all back or has never protected y'all, need I remind y'all that last season when you and Cliff and Leticia started that whole fight with Willie and Nikesha, what did Latrice do? Lie and say it was all Nikesha and Willie. She never called you out, Leticia out, or her own husband for starting that fight at her event. So you can fucking miss me with that shit. She had y'all back in line for y'all and removing yourselves from an argument and an altercation that y'all started. Like at the end of the day, this conversation was nothing. For Glenn to think he's doing something by calling somebody out for shit that he did is crazy to me. So he tells Cliff he's planning a special surprise for Leticia because he wants to put in the work with how much he loves her. And he tells Cliff, I'm not inviting you because if I would invite you, I would have to invite Latrice and she didn't want nobody else around her. He said, I understood. That's how you feel. But hey, listen, if you need anything, just call me. He did feel some type of way about not being invited, but it is what it is. But I know that Cliff and Glenn are not going to be at odds for long, okay? They're going to be back cool again. So I just think that Glenn did way too much trying to call out Cliff and call out Latrice, because at the end of the day, he still needs to be accountable for his actions. Nothing that Cliff and Latrice did could have prevented what you had already been doing. Sorry. So, but the fact that Leticia and Glenn are going to continuously punish Latrice for something that Glenn did is just baffling to me. We're moving on. We get Selena. Today is the day she's going to drive an hour to her son's house. And she hasn't been over to her son's house since he passed. And since the girls' trip and the medium experience, she is ready to walk in the house and have her first step of healing. I was very happy that she drove into the city with Latrice and Cliff. And She hugged everybody who was there. Marie was there. Cedric was there. Mike was there. Leticia and Glenn was there. Of course, Latrice and Cliff. Where was Tambra? Did anybody notice that Tambra wasn't there? And Carrie and Matt was there. So I don't know why, but she wanted to show us where her son's body was laid and how he was covered with a blanket. Now she's saying that that was a sign of someone caring for him to cover him up that way. I don't know how that happened, but maybe. So when she opens the door, she sees a picture of baby Sanjay on his dresser. He loved his sisters. And she picks up his favorite shirt. Cliff talks about her son and that her son used to work for him cutting trees, and he knew him very well. He was a hard worker. He was sweet. He was honest. He was resilient, just like Selena. So Marie was the voice of reason. You know, she was telling Selena, you don't have to be strong. We're here for you. Tell us how you're feeling. And Marie was noticing things around the house. You know, how there was a sign of a struggle. There was a footprint. There was a handprint. And, you know, it's been in Selena's mind about solving her son's murder and how did this happen and how there hasn't been any updates. Now, Marie is definitely feeling it because she has 3 boys. And she would be heartbroken if one of her sons was taken away from her. And again, like I said, there hasn't been any updates of her son's case. So Latrice and Cliff decided to put up reward money for any new information about her son's murder. Money talks. People will definitely come up with a way to say they know something if you put money on it. And she's asking if anybody else wanted to come together and pull in what you can. And if there's a number we want to reach, her and Cliff will definitely pull in the rest, which I do think is a very humbling and very honorable thing that Latrice and Cliff are doing for Selena. Very, very honorable. So when they all rallied around Selena in the kitchen, she just cried. And she's been needing this. And she is very happy that these group of ladies are there to support her at a time like this. And it was a beautiful experience, but it was very sad. You know how it's been all this time and she is still feeling the loss of her son. You know, grief never goes away. Losing somebody is never something you can easily get over. So I hope that this is a step for Selena to heal and to live and to still fight for justice for her son. So moving on, we are at the surprise that Glenn is preparing for Leticia. He is planning a recommitment ceremony. He's got her parents to help him. He got Marie on the line because Leticia didn't want none of her friends to be there. But of course, I can't have the Dr. Marie Monroe be in attendance. But the event isn't going the way he needed to go because he literally called everybody at the last minute to have things set up. You know what I'm saying? He's calling and calling, but I guess nobody else knows what direction that they need from him because it's so last minute. It's not playing properly. And then he called Marie, and Marie said, listen, I just spoke to the team, and they said nothing was done. They said that you needed to tell them, and they didn't know what was going on. He said, I spoke to them all last night. What you mean? Well, they said nothing was done. So he trying to call Leticia. She's not picking up, going straight to voicemail. She pulls up, wonders why he's in a whole suit. And Leticia said she had a hard day at her office. She was slammed at work. She got phone calls from her team talking about a commitment ceremony. She's like, what commitment ceremony? I don't know why the team didn't lie to her. I don't know why the team told her about the commitment ceremony. Like, why couldn't y'all just keep her in suspense? Like, why would you tell her? So she was caught off guard with everybody calling her. Her hairstylist was calling her to set up an appointment she wasn't aware of. Her team setting up something she shouldn't have been in the know of. It's like, what is going on here? How am I getting calls from my team about you planning something and they needed my confirmation on something? That makes no sense. It looks as if I'm planning my own event and I shouldn't be doing that. So Glenn was like, okay, so now you know, do you want to still do it or not? I mean, listen, Glenn, this is the lack of effort that everyone has been calling you out on, because I understand Leticia wanted you to do something right, but the fact that you couldn't even have the actual event planned properly is just crazy to me. You know, like, to say that, okay, so now you know, do you want to do it or not? Nigga, it ain't, what is this? Like, she was dismissing the effort, but at the same point in time, the effort was so lackluster. You did everything at the last minute. I understand you want to use her team because her team was someone that knows her and knows how she would like events to be set up. But the way that you are just acting as if it's not your fault that the event went down the way it went down, it's your fault, nigga. Take accountability. This is how you did not plan things right. This is how you know you don't know how to do shit. They are both getting on my damn nerves, okay? So they had an argument about who should have did this and who should have did that. And it's like, how am I supposed to be excited for something that I shouldn't even be in the know of? I'm supposed to have the whole treatment and you're not giving me the treatment. And again, Glenn is just like, so you want to do it or not? Because I can go home right now. I can do this. I can do that. It's like, get the fuck out of here, both of y'all. So she walk off after he don't want to take accountability that he messed things up. And he said, cut the cameras off. Let's cut everything off. I ain't got time for this shit. Marie and Cedric, I don't know why this scene was here. So Cedric is finally getting rid of the twin bed mattresses that he had in his house, courtesy of what Marie wanted him to do. And they're on their way to their recommitment ceremony to support Leticia and Marie. I mean, support Leticia and Glenn. I'm sorry. Glenn went over to the location where he wanted the recommitment ceremony. He thought the decorations was up. They were not. They were at some type of park. And the event was supposed to be set up 2 hours ago. It literally was a sad, sad event, okay? He had like 8 chairs, a vase of bouquet flowers, and he's just waiting for Marie and Cedric to show up, and he's waiting on Leticia, saying how I'm calling her. She not pick up the phone. I called her about 30 times. I'm not sure she's going to make it. You know, drawing that suspense music that she might not show up. We know she's going to show up. So Latrice also decided to have her own little private party to kind of do a redo when she did invite the girls over to her house for a pool party that got out of hand. So she wanted to give them a proper experience of the Rogers. It was nice of her to do. Carrie came first. She loved the vibe of Taste. It's an urban vibe, you know, as restaurateur to restaurateur. I see what you got going on. And to say that Taste has a different vibe than Brick and Spoon. We see Selena and Tambra. They're happy to be there. And, you know, they was wondering, is this everybody? Latrice put an invite to everybody, but apparently these are the girls that only responded. And I guess it was an olive branch to move forward because her and Leticia did have a conversation. But Cliff said, well, there's a reason why they might not make it. Apparently, Glenn is preparing a recommitment ceremony with Leticia. They were like, what? Really? So I have another question. Why didn't Leticia want nobody else in the friend group to come to her event? Like, I understand your issue with Latrice, though, but nobody else did anything to you. So why are you separating yourself from everybody else? Like, I don't understand that. Marie and Cedric pull up to support Leticia and Glenn. Marie said that Glenn has been really trying to be there and support and show his love to Leticia. What progress has he shown, Marie? What are you talking about? He can't even do a commitment ceremony properly. See, Marie, this is why I don't believe anything you say, because you have been the one that have called out Glenn in every instances and have told her to get an apartment, do this and do that. But just because you back with Cedric, you're just going to ignore all the red flags of what Glenn has continuously have been doing. Like, it just, pick me, male identified, can't do it. I just can't. I don't know what to say. At this point, Marie, you and Leticia are in the same boat of accepting ain't shit ass men and are willing to accept anything and anything they do to you. As long as they do some type of grand gesture to say how much they're sorry, y'all not gonna do nothing about it. That's it, that's all. Glenn is feeling a bit nervous that he's not sure if Leticia is going to show up. So back at Taste, the rest of the ladies feel some type of way about not getting an invite. You know, Carrie would love to be there. So did Selena. But, you know, it's no surprise that we end up seeing Leticia show up at her event, because she wasn't going to not show up, okay? She is committed to fixing her marriage, and they were in such a great space before. And then when he presented her with that vase of flowers, he said, I know we were in a bad space for what had happened, but I'm trying to get us back, whatever. Back at Taste, Tambra said, listen, it's a pattern. Because I was there when they went through their problems before, you know, and she thought that Carrie and Selena are new to the situation. because they haven't been around as much. But Carrie said, no, I do think there was a DNA test happening. There was a flashback to a couple of seasons ago where Leticia and Glenn were sitting on a reunion couch waiting for paternity results for a child he might have created outside of the marriage. And then, you know, whenever he does these things, he does a big grand gesture to, you know, say, I'm sorry, I want to do better, please forgive me. We have seen him do it with the proposal that he did, that whack-ass song he did. Like, it's the same thing we've seen Glenn do time and time again. Now we got them back at the park where we're just seeing Glenn and Leticia crying. And I cannot hold my laughter. I was not feeling nothing in this scene, but a pure delight of looking at these two fools making a fool out of themselves. Then, you know, we see her confess her love by saying, I do love you, but I want you to know that I only love you. But I want you to make it easy for me to only love you. I'm all about the sanctity of marriage and a blah, 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 blah. To say that you need him to make it easy to love you, girl, he has never made it easy to love you. He has looked for other ways to not love you. Like, girl, back at Taste, they want to know, will Glenn make a change? Cliff threw shade and says, give him 60 days and he'll go back to his old ways. A zebra don't change his stripes. I'm hollering. Again, same old. He crying about how much he loves her and she values him. He said the same thing. They hug and they kiss, and that was the end. I'm done. Leticia said, I hope that this is our last fresh start. We know. You hopeful for that too, but he gonna do something else and you're not gonna do nothing else about it. You're gonna accept him again. I feel nothing. I don't think this was a memorable experience. I don't think this showcased him trying to be a better man. I just think that he wanted to just hurry up and have Tisha not be mad at him anymore. That's it. That's all. That was the end of the episode. We got the reunion coming up. I ain't got nothing else to say. This whole situation wasn't as... it wasn't nothing. I don't know what to say to this because I have nothing to say to this. Okay, I'm just ready for the season to be over and done with. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.